Hey, TDK here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video review we take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, a premium device that Samsung is trying to make more than just a fancy screen. For Samsung, this is pretty familiar territory. Every year the company launches a tablet that it wants to pass off as more than just a toy, but also a productivity tool. Is the Tab S7 Plus that? Well, that depends on what tools you want to use. And what I mean by that is in terms of what apps you're using. So this is, of course, a tablet that runs on Android, and you got a 12.4-inch Super AMOLED display. I mean, the tablet is beautiful inside out. I mean, you've got the gorgeous display on the front. It looks really nice just all around with the Mystic Bronze, at least with my review. You can get it in Mystic Silver and Mystic Black as well. But it's just an elegant device, and it should be. For what you're paying for, as far as this goes, you should be getting that. You do get the S Pen in the box as well. I'm going to get to that in a second, but the main thing here to look at is just from a design perspective, there is enough screen real estate to do both things that will entertain you and then of course things that, you're just looking to get the job done. Now you won't get a keyboard to go with this, but there are keyboards that work with it because there are the magnetic connectors at the bottom here to connect a compatible keyboard. There's enough in here just off the bat to make the device viable. So the processor's fast. You've got enough RAM, you've got some internal storage, you've got plenty of battery life. Actually, the battery life is impressive for what you're getting. And you've got the 120 hertz refresh rate, so it's a very, very smooth screen. There's a lot already there, okay? Which again, you would expect from a Samsung tablet. The S Pen is an interesting aspect of this, not because it's new, Samsung's been doing it for years, but more so because it plays a big role in how productive you're gonna be. For example, now when I use this with Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom in particular, I had a really, really nice experience. But there's a caveat to all that, which is that the version of Lightroom that works on tablets is very close to the one that's on desktops, whereas the version of Photoshop is not. So this is one of those trade-offs that constantly kind of rears its head when you're using this device. You end up using an app, perhaps on desktop, that you get used to, and then you come up to the mobile equivalent of it, and it's not entirely the same experience. That's par for the course for Android tablets as it is, but when you have the S Pen on top of that, you have a tool that actually works really, really well. It just needs something to work well with. Three of the apps that Samsung included preloaded were Clip Studio, Canva, and NoteShelf. All of these, of course, are aimed at using the pen. Now, if you're an illustrator or a painter, you're going to like using Clip Studio because that's really what it's for. Canva is well known for just kind of creating different images. I mean, everybody uses, well, people who use it for a variety of different reasons. You don't necessarily need the pen, but the pen is really kind of neat when you use it with it. And then NoteShelf is also, you're just taking notes. Those are just three apps that are preloaded. There, of course, are other apps that you can get from Google Play that will do a lot of these things too. You may have your favorites. Again, ideally when they are optimized for the tablet. Not everything is, but when they are, the experience is fantastic. No problem. The pen is super responsive. The tech that Samsung put in the S Pen going back to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra applies here, so you don't have that latency that would have existed with the pen before. It's there pretty instantaneously, and it works really, really well. I didn't get a chance to use the Tab S7 Plus with a keyboard, so I can't really speak to its word processing capabilities, but I can imagine that they're likely going to be very, very similar to the Tab S6. I say that because they haven't changed all that dramatically in the last couple of years. It's really the keyboards that have changed. So as long as you have a good keyboard, good keys, trackpad, you should have a pretty reasonable, you have a very good experience here. But again, and I know I'm belaboring the point, it matters as to what apps you're using. Office apps like from Microsoft, they work fine, no problem. I mean, even if you're not using a keyboard, you can kind of get by depending on the program. Obviously not with Word or Excel, but maybe with PowerPoint. Either way, you have some options in what you can use, but if there are desktop apps that you like to use that aren't available here, well, then you run into a problem. Now, even with Samsung's DeX Mode, which works flawlessly here, it works very, very smoothly here, you have the option of a desktop type experience within Samsung's ecosystem, but it's not obviously going to be the same as using a Windows or Mac device, and frankly, even an iPad. So the iPad is the primary competitor here, but you could argue that even Surface tablets would be competitors to this because that's really who Samsung is aiming for. It's aiming for people who want a laptop type experience in a tablet with, of course, a pen that comes with the device. I'm not really going to get into too much of the consumption side of things because there's really, I don't know what else to say. It's fantastic, and it should be, and I expected it would be. You get AKG tuned speakers with Dolby Atmos support, Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus. The screen is gorgeous. It's fantastic. The deep, the black levels are amazing. Like watching a movie or a show on this is fantastic. It's just great. So if you're streaming content in this, you're gonna be very, very pleased. But you shouldn't necessarily pay as much for doing just that. And that's why Samsung's primary case here is not to enjoy content, but it's to actually create it. Can you? Well, yeah, depending on what apps you're using, because again, that's always what it comes back to, and it's always what it comes back to with Samsung's tablets. Partially not their fault because it also depends what's available on Google Play, but it is that cat and mouse kind of game of searching for the right avenues to do what it is you need to do. The good news is that if you do find those things that you want to use and that you like to use, you should last a full day using this tablet. The battery life is excellent, considering its size and everything it's doing. It holds up really, really well. I was impressed with it. I haven't always been with Samsung's tablets, but this one held up really, really well. And so you should be okay when it comes to that. So if you're worried about lasting a full day, you should be fine. I don't think you're gonna really run into a problem there. Android runs kind of lightweight in a sense on this device, which is good. And multitasking, of course, is as good as it can be relative to Android. Again, it's something that Samsung can only go so far with. And also just generally something that tablets have not, in my opinion, fully caught up to laptops on. But either way, there's a lot you can do here, but it really, really depends on what it is you want to do. And that's my review of the Samsung Galaxy S7 Plus for the Best Buy blog. I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.